Does fear rule your life? Do you ever feel completely paralyzed with fear? There are 35 acronyms for fear. A couple of my favorite: false emotions appearing real, frantic effort to avoid reality, F everything and run, and a really happy one is forget it all and rise up. I'm Chef Amber, and I'm so passionate about showing you that what you put into your body matters now, today. I love food. Food is my life, and it's my number one healing tool for me. But I want to share today something else that gets in the way of my health and vitality is fear. Okay, I'm going to get real with you and share one of my biggest fears. I actually have a couple life huge fears that I've been able to do a lot of work around, but my biggest one used to be that I can't have it all, that I will never be able to find my mate, find my man, and get married and have a family because I'm a business owner and I own a couple restaurants and I have this huge brand. So it was a story and a fear I was feeding myself for years, that I'm just gonna be single and die old and alone. It's not true. So how did I overcome this fear? So I speak a lot about meditation, my meditation practice. I really believe in talk therapy, meaning a therapist. I have an intuitive therapist that has helped really save my life, and journaling. So getting my thoughts out with another person, whether it be a best friend, my mother, or my therapist, and also writing it down and really looking at it. I mean, is that a true statement? When I say I will never meet anyone because, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business owner and I'm just gonna grow old, right, by myself, never find, there's no one out there for me, right? That's not a true statement. That's once I look at it and looked at it and looked at it, that's not a true statement. And then I was able to do some really deep dive and inner work, which I could do a whole other, talk about, which really went into my journey towards self-love and worthiness. So usually for fear, definitely for me, there's something underneath the fear, right? So me feeling that I'm never gonna meet my soulmate, right? I'm gonna be alone for the rest of my life. Underneath that was a big, huge kind of elephant in the room that I had to look at, which was really uncomfortable, which was my belief that I was not worthy and unlovable. And do I believe that today? Hell no, at all. But I believe that when a fear arises for myself, there is definitely an indicator that I need to look at. There's definitely something else underneath I get to look at. Fear can sneak up on me and sideswipe me so fast. I can have the best day and all of a sudden, here comes fear. So I'm human, we're all human, so it's gonna happen. And honestly, it could happen daily, it's just how I react to it now. Before, it would floor me and put me into the bottom of the worst depression and anxiety attack, worry, anxiety, and future tripping. That was how I lived my life, and I couldn't get off that hamster wheel. What do I do today? The first thing I do when my little friend fear comes is I say, oh, there it is. I have to acknowledge it. I have to acknowledge it instead of like, no, that's not there, right? Because if I don't acknowledge fear, I'm gonna stuff that emotion and that anxiety with either saying the wrong thing, mostly food for me. I'm gonna go and make an unhealthy food decision. I'm gonna start anxiety or emotional eating, okay? So the first thing for me is honestly, I lean into the discomfort, like lean into it. It's like, there you are, this is really, really freaking uncomfortable right now. The second thing I do, and I always speak about this, is journaling. And sometimes I have to be honest, I'm very slack about it. Sometimes it's painful. The more that I need to work through, I know the more I need to journal. So when that fear comes up, I pause, I lean into it, I get out my journal, probably not until that night, the end of the day. It's a good way to kind of take inventory of the day, and I write down the fear. And I just start to look at it. Is this a real statement? Is that really true? No, the answer is usually no, okay, for me. And then the third thing, which is an ongoing thing that I do through the day, even if fear doesn't arise, is I turn it over to universe, God, higher power. I'm very spiritual. I pray and meditate and have a gratitude list every day. And this keeps me in faith and out of fear. I believe that we can't be in fear and faith at the same time. So every morning, part of my morning prayer when I wake up is I choose faith today. I choose courage. I choose bravery, I choose faith. Like, let's do this thing. Because let's get real. Life can get really hard. Like, life sometimes for me, And I'll just use me as an example right now. I'm opening up another restaurant. I'm writing a cookbook. I'm expanding my business. I'm hiring a couple dozen more employees. Some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, I can't do this today. And the fear starts. I'm not going to be good enough. I'm going to fail. Nobody's going to like my food. Nobody's going to buy my book. I'm going to run out of all of my money. I'm not going to be able to pay my employees. I mean, it starts going on and on. Right. I get on a fear. I call it my fear train. And so I have to let's put the pause on that. If I'm in fear, I can't be in faith. So I have to make a decision in that moment to go straight back to a gratitude list, what I'm grateful for in this day, in this moment. I also believe that the universe doesn't give me anything that I can't handle. And if I think that I can do it all by myself, that's when I really go down the ditch of despair, because I can't do it by myself. I need my therapist, I need meditation, and honestly, I need faith. When I talk about faith, everyone needs to find what that means to them. For me, it's the belief that the universe has my back, right? That I'm gonna do the best that I can today, and tomorrow's a new day. Another thing that helps me with fear is staying in today. Like, I'm only gonna worry about today, right now, right? Being present with you right now. If I started worrying about filming another video and what I'm gonna say in 5 days, that now I'm in the future. I call it future tripping, which is basically worrying, which basically is me creating a fake realistic story, because I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what happens in the future, right? I'm doing the best that I can today. If you're having a moment where you feel the fear creeping in, for me, I feel it and it starts to rise and I'm like, oh, I can't handle this. It comes out as tears or anger sometimes. I take that pause that I've spoken about before and I ask myself immediately, is this a true statement? Is this real? I am not my emotions. I will say that 1,000 times when a fear comes up. So what would I do? I would take a breath. Usually I say a prayer. I have to decide in that moment, is this really true? And remind myself that my emotions don't dictate my reality. I mean, they don't. And sometimes if you're like, for me, I'll call a friend and say, okay, I'm freaking out, I'm having a moment. And usually that friend on the other side is like, oh, friend, like that's just not true at all. Fear creeps up for everyone. We're human. I think the worst thing that we can do is ignore fear and pretend it's not there. The best thing that works for me is like leaning into that fear. I would love to know what works for you. What are your tools? What are your tips? What do you do when fear arises in your life? How do you get through it? Share this with me because I love this journey. I love sharing my journey with you. I encourage you to share with me. And if you haven't already subscribed, click below. And if you're not following me on Chef Amber LA, that's my social handles on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want any more tips or tools for healthy living and want some yummy, sexy, delicious recipes, head on over to chefamber.com. Until next time, ciao, ciao.